Now then, we dive into the episode 18 of the 2017 Ducktales. And this is an episode that is actually centered around Fenton Crack Shell Caboeira, as we see a little bit more into the past of Fenton in this new character. Either way, in this episode, Fenton tries to create an account at first. We also see a quick cameo from Donald, who is rejected, something like that, because of means. So when the Beagle Boys appears, he dons the Gizmoduck suit, and unfortunately causes more damage than it does saving. But that's because he cannot completely um, help everything in this place. But Huey sees Gizmoduck and immediately becomes a fan, while Gyro still stubbornly do not want to help Fenton in order to advance this weapon, so to speak. But then again, that does make sense, because according to him, finally it seems like Scrooge have had enough of Gyro's crazy inventions, because he threatens to cut his budget if he doesn't invent something that is a little bit more good. That contradicts a little bit with what Scrooge said in the beginning of Gyro's introduction, when he said that Gyro was the greatest scientist of his time. But I guess even he knows that there's a limit to how much crazy inventions he can create. Of course, Fenton then tries to learn on how to control the suit, but unfortunately fires a missile that nearly destroys Mark Beeks, which he saves. So Mark Beeks offers him a job that Fenton unfortunately has to take when Gyro threatens to fire. When Gyro fires him because of, well, all these assaps. It is also revealed that Fenton, just like in the original continuation, lives with his mother. However, the only difference here is in this version, of course, Fenton's mother is also Latino, just like Fenton is in this incarnation. With the beige feathers and all, and voiced by a pretty good actress as well. However, the difference here is that, unlike in the old cartoon, Fenton and his mom do not live in a trailer park. No, they have a real common Latino, I think it's a Latino home to live in. And Fenton's mom is actually a badass police officer this time. She wants Fenton to find a real job. Well, which mother do not want to find? I mean, a real mother really do want to find a job to. No, a real mother really want their sons to have a job, especially when they still live at home. So but when he works for Mark Beeks, unfortunately, Gizmoduck, dubbed Waddle Duck, has to do menial things, which he soon actually do not really like. So and even Huey loses his faith in Gizmoduck when he sells out to Waddle Duck, especially since, he saw what Mark Beeks really was. So it's during this time, though, that once he sees what how much damage he's doing as a Waddle Duck, it's not really good for his feelings, so to speak. Fenton quits, but then Mark Beeks hacks his Gizmoduck suit and steals for himself, and that causes more damage. Seeing this resolves Fenton's will, so he decides to don it again, and this time manages to save a lot of people. Unfortunately, the suit is still hijacking, so Huey helps him getting back control, revealing that the reason why the core is meltdowning all the time is because of Gyro has a safety precaution in the head, or like Huey said, something like "you are the brain." So he actually managed to hijack Gizmoduck's suit and rearrange it so that Fenton can control it through, his own brain, so to speak. This thus shows that Huey is quite highly technical advanced, but that was already seen 2 episodes ago when he hijacked a robot. I guess that would mean that Huey could be the technical whiz of the triplets. I mean, the other two triplets are in this episode, but they're just there for gags, so to speak. So, so well, mm, so so either way, Fenton managed to prevent an explosion, but does get hurt and ends up in the hospital. But during this time, that Scrooge appears with a very reluctant Gyro, apparently, who says that since he is abroad, no one is watching Duckburg, so he wants someone he can trust watch it for him, and that one is Fenton, and he will get a real paycheck through that. Happy, Fenton donates the Gizmoduck suit again, although still with hurt limbs, and proclaims him when Scrooge says, "What's the name I should write on the paycheck?" He says, "Call me Gizmoduck." So this is this episode. I mean, it wasn't exactly among my favorite. It had some pretty embarrassing moments, especially when Gizmoduck had to work for Mark Beeks and all that stuff. However, there were still some funny moments there, especially when Fenton tries to learn how the suit works. And the fact is, the most running gag is the fact that Fenton's suit apparently seems to have a pie in the face kind of ability, and it comes from hammer space, so that's pretty fun. Gyro mm, was still an insufferable type of guy here. I mean, he did have a point though that Fenton is causing more damage than good, and apparently the suit is made of something very unstable. Would make me question though, why is Gyro even inventing something that unstable in the first place? But then I realize, well, it's Gyro. Of course he would invent something unstable in the first place. So also had some continuity nod when Donald is refused a loan on his houseboat that got wrecked thanks to Tiffany, the magical shark, so to speak. Other than that, though, it was nice to see Fenton here and also getting his little happy ending, so to speak. Mark Beeks still didn't suffer enough, but maybe one of these days will happen. He did show his casual side here, but also is more of his darker side to it all. His obsession with the Gizmoduck suit, well, that reminds me a lot of a stalker with a crush or something like that. So, hmm. So yeah, I mean, for me, it's a 7 out of 10. This episode could have been better, but it's not necessarily bad either. But the introduction of Mama Crackshell, that was a welcoming addition, and I'm glad they're not living in a trailer park. She looks more sexy and badass in this version, but that's just how it is, so to speak. Um, the the so also it's also very noted that it's very different from the old show. I mean, in that old show, Scrooge did know eventually what Gizmoduck's secret identity were. Uh, however, in the old show, he and Gyro was very likely the only ones who knew. And the triplets and Launchpad didn't know a single bit here. So, and it's also here he is employing him, not just as a hero thing. But then again, in the old show, Fenton was hired by Scrooge as a, well, calculator or whatever. First step towards Fenton getting a real job and having a happy ending. But I hope we'll see more of Gizmoduck and his badasses soon. Give me your thoughts if you have any.